Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra has said that she was shocked and ashamed that India has abstained in the United Nations General Assembly on a resolution that called for humanitarian truce in the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict. Quoting Mahatma Gandhi's words, Priyanka Gandhi said, and I quote, "Eye for an eye makes the whole world blind," and added that refusing to take a stand goes against everything the country has stood for as a nation, quote unquote. Well, this, remember, came after India abstained from voting on a resolution tabled by Jordan in the UN that called for an immediate humanitarian truce in the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict. Apart from this, Nationalist Congress Party chief, that is the NCP, Sharad Pawar, has also said there was total confusion in the approach of the Narendra Modi government to the Palestine issue amidst the Israel-Hamas war. His comment coming after India abstained in the UNGA. Let's quickly, in fact, open this up to our guests. Joining us at this point are Madhav Nalapat, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian. Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist, also joins us live. Rakhi Bakshi, senior journalist, is live with us. Rajesh Jauhri, senior journalist, joins us live as well. Madhav Nalapat, let me begin with you first. What do you make of Priyanka Gandhi Vadra and Sharad Pawar's criticism of the Modi government for this development that has taken place in the UNGA?
Well, so far as Priyanka Gandhi is concerned, I am very surprised. Her grandmother perished due to an act of terrorism. Her father, her beloved father, lost his life at the hands of a terrorist assassin. So I thought Priyanka at least will be more sensitive to the question of terrorism. Now the reality is that the people of Gaza have no choice. They are forced to basically live under the shadow and control of Hamas, which is a terror organization. And the reason why India abstained, India, by the way, supported the Canadian resolution that said, please just add Hamas as a terror organization and condemn the move made by Hamas to kill nearly 1,500 innocent Israelis. Please do that. And then I'm very certain if that amendment had been passed, India would have voted for it. But the fact is, for some odd reason, that amendment was not passed. It's amazing. Just naming Hamas as a terrorist organization, something that is obvious, it was not passed. And as a consequence, because Hamas was not named, India abstained. Now, I think that is a very logical thing for the simple reason that the root of this problem is October 7 and the terror attack caused by Hamas. And, I don't know, whether Priyanka really is aware of the nuances of the situation that India didn't vote against Palestine. Palestine people have nothing to do with Hamas. In fact, the Palestinian Authority was forcibly removed by Hamas, and many of its members were killed, shot, and hanged by Hamas when it took control. So nothing to do with Palestinians, nothing to do with Gazans. It's to do with a terror organization that has seized control of a state and is basically running that state, the way it wants. So I think it's very, very sad. It's very sad that the granddaughter of Indira Gandhi and the daughter of Rajiv Gandhi would say this. And may I say that if she's saying this to placate the Muslim community is not with Hamas. The Muslim community is not with terrorism. There is a small extremist fringe in that community, as there is in other communities. But to think that by supporting Hamas, you are supporting, a Muslim cause is wrong. Hamas is not a Muslim cause because Muslims overall do not support terror. Neither the Gazans nor the other Palestinians support terror. And may I end by saying, Gaza should come under the control of the Palestinian Authority. But for that, it has to be liberated from Hamas. And I'm surprised that Priyanka Gandhi has ignored these nuances, ignored the reality of terrorism, and said something which essentially is giving a clean chit to terrorists.
Yes, let me also, in fact, quickly bring in Gautam Mukherjee. Gautam Mukherjee, it's not just Priyanka Gandhi. Sharad Pawar also feels there is confusion in the government's approach vis-a-vis the Israel-Palestine issue. Do you agree? Or do you believe that the opposition is simply criticizing for the sake of it?
Well, Sharad Pawar is a master of ambivalence. But the government of India has been very clear from the word go that it does not support the terrorism inflicted on Israel by Hamas and is consistent in that. Now, this resolution promoted by Canada, not our best friend at the moment, but it promoted the right resolution, had 85 votes in favor, including India's. And but they needed 2/3, which in order to be incorporated into the main resolution, and that did not occur. So 45 people abstained, including India. I don't see any confusion at all. I don't see any confusion at all. It is Hamas that is the culprit. It is Hamas that is the villain. And despite the enormous bloodshed and suffering that has been inflicted on the Gaza Strip, let us be very clear, it is Hamas that is responsible much more than Israel and its attacks. For example, right now, their command center apparently is the Al-Shifa hospital, which is the biggest hospital in the Gaza Strip. They've got all their munitions in there. They've got all kinds of missile launchers and so on in the hospital. Now, what is this about? It is, and ordinary people go and shelter there. Others are sick over there. The idea is that you hit the hospital, we can raise another hue and cry, but we will use the hospital as a shield. So I don't know what Sharad Pawar, maybe in his dotage, he's not quite clear which way to jump.
Okay, let me also quickly bring in Rakhi Bakshi to the conversation as well. Rakhi Bakshi, interesting politics playing out ahead of Vidhan Sabha elections. Priyanka Gandhi, I think, made these remarks, if I'm not mistaken, at a public meeting itself. What do you make of this, Rakhi, and what do you make of the government's defense?
I think as a nation, we are clear, and at this juncture, we have to be clear, which is being reflected by abstaining as far as our country is concerned, is the right thing and very right thing to do. Because just for the sake of being on one side, our country, our nation will not, waver on its own idea and principle, which is based on humanity and peace always. It has condemned terrorism at all international fora, in all its statements anywhere, and it believes strongly in that. In fact, I would go earlier to the Ukraine context, where none less than our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji said that there should be the idea of humanity and peace. So our nation has believed in it and worked on it. Just for the sake of being on one side, it has not done that. I will also come to the whole idea of global pragmatism that I think right now our country has shown. So, and it is very clear as to who stands where and what are the sides. So by taking a step, which is the correct and practical step at this moment, I think it has done the right thing. I think the opposition is trying, of course, to bring in this whole issue because of the local, domestic elections going on. But I think as a country, we need to be united. We need to be more pragmatic. Look at a solution which is wider, which has a wider horizon, rather than narrowing it down to let's say petty politics here. Right now, we have to show pragmatism, and I think we all have to be united here in this approach. Uday.
Yes, Rajesh Jauhri, India is united. And we, of course, firmly do support the stand that the government has taken. But still, politics erupting. Do you believe there are some issues that should be kept out of the political ambit, or do you agree with the criticism that today that has been mounted on the government of India?
Yes, Uday. Your topic today is coming of Israel and Palestine issue in Indian politics. So we have to understand that the whole problem is not because the fight is going on. The whole problem is because there is a shift in Indian system of thinking on that issue, and we have shifted from pro-Palestine to pro-Israel. This is the basic factor which is affecting those political parties who are interested in
No,
vote politics.
but is that
So
something is that something that has happened? You believe that there is an approach completely pro-Palestine and beg your pardon, pro-Israel and anti-Palestine? You believe that is the new approach that the government is taking?
New approach is not anti-Palestine but pro-Israel. And see, because as Rakhi has already said and Gautam Mukherjee has already said that we are always at every international platform, our foreign minister, our prime minister are condemning terrorism. So terrorism from any side will be condemned by India. Second, what Israel has always stood with us, whether it is plane hijack, whether it is Kargil war and several other issues. But what has Palestine done for us? This we will have to understand. Our PMs and from Nehru to Rajiv Gandhi have helped them a lot for their in every way. Even we have given them aeroplane, we have given them money. But what they did with us when the issue of 370 came, they supported Pakistan's stand. So in these circumstances, shall we stand with such a country which is not accepting that we are helping that country from 6 or 7 decades? Now, what is the problem? You must have seen Shashi Tharoor has been removed from the list of chief guests just because he called Hamas as a terrorist organization. So how was Shashi Tharoor wrong? He was analyzing something in a speech and he said that Hamas is a terrorist organization. Now, Uday, I would like to take all of us to the history. Whenever such issues came, whether it was Khilafat movement long back, pre-independence era, so there was a support was there for Khilafat movement. We were not at all affected by that, but despite that, Gandhiji also supported that, and a large number of Hindu people, they also donated for the cause. But what happened? It resulted in Malabar massacre. So we must not let any such international issue entering our Indian subcontinent, because it is very dangerous for us, and we must the political parties, the social organizations, they must keep themselves away from such issues. And as Gautam Mukherjee has said and Professor Nalapat has said, that very small section of that community is supporting Palestine. So you will not get votes by just supporting Palestine without any reason, without any concrete thing. So the Indian politicians who are supporting them, and I would like to say that when Rakhi is saying that whole country is united, it is not so. We are not united on this issue. We are divided, and we are showing ourselves as divided, and the whole world is seeing us. Ki government is taking some stand, Sharad Pawar is taking some stand, Supriya Sule is taking some other stand. So what is this? This is damaging the country's image on world's forum.
Madhav Nalapat, Rajesh Jauhri believes that the Indian government stand has shifted on this issue. It has shifted to pro-Israel rather than neutral stand. What do you make of it?
Well, I'd like to say that the Prime Minister made it amply clear that he favors the protection of civilians, Palestinian civilians. And I think it's very, Hamas is camouflaging itself behind the people of Gaza, behind the Palestinian people. Hamas does not represent the Palestinian people or the people of Gaza. And my worry is you've got an election in 2024. And now, let us say, a terror organization. By the way, Hamas has strongly supported acts of violence and terror in some parts of India. May I remind everybody that, including all political parties. Now, let's say a major act of terror takes place. And if you look in proportional population terms, 150,000 people perish in that, God forbid, act of terror. Then are you going to say, no, let's have a ceasefire, let's stop firing? I mean, those people have gone, now there's no point firing. Are you going to say that? I mean, how can you be a responsible leader of a political party and basically condone an act of terror and say there should be no consequence to that? That way, I would like to congratulate Indira Gandhi. In the UNGA, almost every country supported the United States and China when China supported the genocide taking place in Bangladesh at the hands of the Pakistan military. But Indira Gandhi went forward and did the right thing. I am very clear. The Arab resolution had two infirmities. One, the fact is it did not name Hamas as a terror organization. Certain Arab states, we know what states they are, they've been helping Hamas. They blocked that. And secondly, there's no expiry date for the ceasefire. You're talking about humanitarian ceasefire that has no expiry date. So it will go on and on. What they basically mean is Hamas has done its terror attack. Now there should be no consequence for it. And that is why India abstained from it. India abstained rather than going against the resolution because India has long-term friendship with the Arab world. And may I say, the Arab world has been the victims of terrorism for a very long time. They've been the victims of extremism for a long time. Parts of the Arab world were run by the same kind of radicals. They know how horrible it is. And in my view, frankly, what India has done is the right thing. They have abstained from it because they do not want to vote against an Arab resolution. At the same time, it is wrong to not name and shame Hamas. It's important for the whole world to stand united against terror and to stand united against an organization that has killed, butchered old men, young infants in its act of terror. That is something that you have to condemn. And when you try and get past a resolution that there is no limit to the ceasefire, you're essentially saying give them a free pass. And that is why India abstained rather than basically, voting, in favor or against the resolution. I think abstention was the right thing. It had the right balance. And again, I remind, tomorrow we have a government in India, and you have 100,000 people in India who have great injuries or worse consequences as a result of a terror attack. Is any politician going to say, ceasefire, don't hit back, don't do anything? That will be really horrifying to contemplate. And I think the Indian people will keep that in mind.
Absolutely, Professor Nalapat. And, which is why many are pointing out the fact also, Gautam, that there is aid going to Palestine as well, which clearly shows the intent, translating from words into action as well. Yet this criticism, Gautam, do you believe it is simply for political reason? Or do you believe there has been a shifting, as Rajesh Jauhri is saying, he believes of a pro-Israel position?
Well, it's undeniable that Israel has grown quite close to India and has been of material support right from the Kargil war onwards. It is an important defense partner. It is part of the Western alliance with whom we have a strategic relationship today. Palestine is something of a basket case because it refuses to help itself. Its basic tenet was that we don't recognize Israel, and 2 attempts to form the Palestinian state were turned down by the Palestinians because they refused to also countenance a Zionist state like Israel. So most of the Arab world is mouthing support, but is very, very clear that they want to keep this battle and the kind of people that are in Lebanon and Palestine confined to Lebanon, Palestine, and Syria. They don't want these people spilling over into Egypt. When they did the last time, the battles with the extremists lasted decades. Jordan has a very large Palestinian population and is, bound to help out over here because it doesn't want unrest within its borders. But nobody else is really that interested. So did we do a knee-jerk thing to support Israel against the Hamas? I would say no. But is it just a matter of terrorism and therefore we support the Israeli position? I would say that isn't quite right either. What we are allies with Israel to the extent that we value their cooperation in a variety of ways. They, of course, also do business with China. So we are not married to the Israeli cause. At the same time, we are definitely supportive of their survival and their continuance. And this corridor that we're talking of, Israel is a very important part of it, because that's the port from where Haifa, from where the goods will move on to Europe. So we want this to blow over. We do not want a Palestinian mess that conflagrates the entire area, which it is sometimes threatening to do, particularly with Iran's involvement in the whole thing, which America is also very opposed to. It should end, but it won't end in a ceasefire. It will end in the destruction of Hamas and Hezbollah, so that for the next 50 years they can't try this again.
All right. Well, Rakhi Bakshi, closing comment.
Rajesh ji said we are. I said we should. We should actually, and diplomacy is not about rigid, approaches also. So whatever, I mean, the whole question, the theme that we started with was whether there is a shift. I think it will be about, and I would use the term again, pragmatism at the global level right now. There is domestic, horizon and all these activities going on, which is vis-a-vis elections. But at this point in time, we can't mix the two. And that's what I would say. I mean, the experts have already explained each and every dimension as to what's going on with all these countries and the economic corridor that was being talked about by Gautam Mukherjee, sir. So I will go by that and only urge that at this stage, whatever happens, we should not mix the two and try and really see that the global concerns are kept a little separate from what's going on here. I mean, of course, we know there are compulsions here. Parties are involved in, these Vidhan Sabha elections, but we'll have to have a mature kind of thinking here. So we should be united, I said. That should be the idea.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.